Hey everyone, in this tutorial we're going to be introducing the character creator for iClone 6. So essentially what I'm going to be doing is introducing the various tools that you can use to modify, customize, and alter your character in various ways. And the end goal will be to recreate a guy similar to the dude that you see dancing around on the screen right here. So we're going to be introducing the UI and introducing the various tools as well. Nothing too in-depth. So let's go ahead and just stop this guy right now and go into our character creator. Now when you're in the character creator, you'll first see this base character, this base nude female character. And let's go ahead and take a look at the UI first, really briefly. So on the left hand side here we have the content manager with all of our content in it. We'll explore that in just a moment. And on the right we have the modify panel with all of our various parameters that we can modify for morphs and materials and stuff. Now this content manager comes with a little section at the top that you can click on each different section here. You can mouse over it to see which stuff is in which section here. Actor project, those are morphs. And we have subcategories for head, body, teeth, and eyes. And then over here we have character skin. And over here we have like special templates for like makeup and stuff. And then over here there's hair. So the free version of the character creator comes with 3 hair bases. Now you may see some essential folders while I'm roaming through the content manager here. Now those are actually for separate purchase. The free version of the character creator comes with most of the stuff that I'm going to be using in this tutorial, but you also have the option as well to purchase, various stuff. Like we have these base shirts right here, and then I have this essential clothing folder which contains a number of various other shirts. So that's up to you. If you decide that you want to have more content, you can purchase those separately from the content store. So in the clothing, like I mentioned, we have shirts, shorts, skirts, all kinds of different stuff, like full dresses and boots and everything like that. And then over here, there are accessories. Now this little content panel at the top, you can actually undock it and float it around your scene like that. You can make it vertical or horizontal by clicking that little button there. I prefer to have mine docked, so I'll just keep it up there. And then when you're going through your categories, if you want a different view, say for example we go to the morphs and we go to the eyes here, if you want a different view, you can just go here and press Control 1, and that'll give you a different list, medium size icon, large size icon view of all your content. So that's really up to you. You can customize that as well. You can also close down these windows, the content and the modify windows, and then you can press F4 and F6 to bring those respective windows up again. If you want to find the files that you're using on your character, you can simply right click on the file and select Find File, just like in iClone, and it opens up the Explore window. So let's get started on creating our character. So over on the left here, like I mentioned, we have our actor projects, and we have these clothed ones. You can see the little dude with the tie there, and here's the nude ones. This guy has no tie. So in the nude bases, we have all these different projects that we can import in, and these are different characters with different faces and everything. So if we want to, say for example, use this fat female project, this will be quite different from the thin female that we have on the screen right now. You can see we have a totally different face, facial morphs and body morphs and everything like that. All those values have changed. Now we also have something like the male and female. I'll just choose this strong male template now. I'm just going to double click that guy and add him in. And then you have the option after this guy, you can see he's pretty jacked. After we add this guy, and you have the option to go over here to your morphs and change to full body morphs. So we can change this guy's body. Now if we change the morphs, we're not going to change any of the skin features. So he's still going to have the same beard and the same hair and everything like that. But if we change the full body morph, we're going to change his body. So we can change him to from a strong male to heavy male, for example. And that's going to change his facial morphs, his body morphs, but as you can see, he still has that same cool hairstyle and the same body hair and everything like that as well. Let's go over to let's return to the strong male template that we had before, since our character, our in character is going to be pretty strong here. And then you also have the head morphs as well. You can morph the heads separately. We're just going to be using a couple of templates here. For example, I can choose this male C, and that's the same one that I just applied there. Let's go ahead and try the male A. And you can see that one's a little bit different, so we get that kind of cool looking face right there. And you can do the female faces as well. And then, like I said, the body morph separately, and then the teeth, you can modify those separately as well. We'll have a separate tutorial on the teeth and eyes. For example, we can select the eyes just as a quick zoomed in a little too close there. We can change this guy to like brown eyes. Now you'll see the option whether or not you want to replace the eye or just the material. That doesn't really matter. The material will just keep the same mesh and just replace the material. So we can give this guy brown eyes if we want, or we can just swap out for blue eyes. If we select material only, for example, it won't do much of a difference because all the eyes have essentially the same mesh. So there's our character modified with all the morphs. Now one thing you may notice is that when we select, when we mouse over certain parts of our character, you'll see this little yellow selection area up here. And what you can do with this for morphing is you can select a different area of the body and click and drag, and you can change the character's body shape according to where you click and dragged in on your character. So I can make his neck larger or thinner like that. If I click and drag and go left and right, I can increase his bust size or his height by clicking and dragging and going up here. If I go around behind the character, I can take his lats and expand those or stretch those in according to my preference. And then there's my character's chest. I can make him more barrel-chested like this as well. Now, when I modify these, I can actually go to my character's face and do the same thing as well. If I wanted to select his nose, for example, notice that when I click on the nose item selects in the Modify panel to the right. And I can click and drag that, and you can see that nose bump slider down here is moving left and right. So if I click and drag that nose bump slider, you can see the value change like that. So every selectable area on your character comes with the free version of Character Creator. So anything that I'm selecting here comes with the free version of Character Creator. Now, the Essential Morph Packs, those come with a lot more detailed morphs, and we can get into that in another tutorial. But for now, we'll just use these basic ones right here. And if you twirl this down, you can see then we have the Essential Morphs. And there's a number of different morphs in here as well. There's tons of different ones that you can use. A lot more variety than comes with the basic package. But for this tutorial, we're going to be using the basic package. Now if you modify any of these, for example, like I take my character's neck right here, and I increase that neck, let's go down and see which slider. We can even just search here and go in search when you can select neck right here. So we are changing the neck size right here, just like that. Now if I change it, notice that the slider will have white, it will be filled in with white, whereas the default value is just like that, empty. If I want to return it to the default value, I can simply double click the neck size text, and that'll go back to the default value right there, which is 0. So let's move on quickly to the skin then. So now we have our muscular looking character. Let's move on to the skin. So the skin section is right here, like I mentioned before, and we have the essential skin. So there's all sorts of different essential skins that you can purchase separately from the content store. Let's talk about the normal ones first though. We have these bases that are included with our characters. So the skin is not going to modify the body, the mesh shape, it's only going to modify the actual skin on the character. So say for example we wanted this to be a base female. So this will be a little bit more pale. This will be like soft white milky skin as opposed to the character that we had before. So now he looks like the guy from Prometheus or something like that. And then if we want to give him some more like manly skin with some actual body hair, we can go to the strong male, or we can even just choose this base male right here. And this base male should have some body hair on it, and that'll just change the character. There you go. So now we have essentially the same thing as we did before. Now we also have these the special folder here, which includes different types of makeup, which we won't apply to our male character right now. But if you want to modify different values, more detailed in your character, you can go over here to the Appearance Editor and make sure your actor is selected and select Activate Appearance Editor. So what this is going to do is this is going to launch our Appearance Editor wherein we can modify different parts of our character's skin, like the surface normals, the aging, and everything like that. Basically everything you see on the character's skin. So we have output size. You can change your output size according to how much detail you want. And we have other tutorials which get into that. But let's take a look at a couple of these. Now it may seem a little bit overwhelming at first, but actually it's not too difficult. We'll have more detailed tutorials like I mentioned on all these things. The body base is the one that most people will be interested in, and this is where you can change your character's skin tone. So just go down to tone right here, and you can give him a darker skin tone, or a lighter skin tone. Let's give him something somewhere in between here. And then the variation slider is kind of cool too. It'll give you a more even tone, or a more, almost like an ambient occlusion effect on your character as well. And there's various other sliders that you can choose. Now normal strength is one of the cool ones. If we take that down, you can see this is not modifying the mesh at all. This is only modifying the surface material. So we're creating sort of those like crevices in the body we're making him look more ripped than he ever was by increasing that normal strength. And I'll show you more about that in just a moment. Let's close down the body base right now and go to body surface normals. So we have body surface normals for age. We can make him look older by increasing that slider. We can make him look skinnier by increasing that slider. And then we have the strong one, which is the one we were using before, because we have our strong base character there. So let's go ahead and take that down. And body freckles are a cool thing, especially if he's a tan character. We can increase the amount of freckles on his shoulders there, increase the density of that maybe, and you can see those appear on the character's shoulders, since we're going to be giving this guy a tan. And speaking of tans, let's go to body tan now, and we have different types of input that we can use. Tank top is the one I like to use for characters, for male characters, especially strong ones. And we can change the opacity of that. You can see the difference right there. So he's got a pretty severe tan if we increase that opacity up pretty high. That's skin cancer waiting to happen right there. Let's just take that down to like 0.4 so we can actually kind of see it a little bit. But that's one value you can change. You can change it also to bikini or swimsuit. We probably wouldn't want to do the bikini on this guy, although that would be kind of funny. And then there's the body hair as well. So if you wanted to change the body hair, there's all sorts of different values you can change over here. We can take off his body hair or put it back on. And again, you can explore that on your own time. Now, body decals have to do with tattoos, and we'll talk about that in a separate tutorial as well. With the body decals, you can move them around anywhere on your character's body. You can change their opacity, you can change their values, because we're dealing with substance materials here, and we're able to use procedural textures on all of our character creator characters, CCCs. Let's go ahead and take a look at this guy's face then. Let's give him a little bit more of an aged appearance on his face. Now he kind of looks like he's a little bit baby-faced right now for a guy that's been out working in the sun. So let's go to his head right here. We can go to skin body and skin head. And skin head, we can twirl this down, and then we have all these different sections right here. We're only going to be dealing with a couple of these. Face tan, we'll just quickly go into there and choose sunburn, because he's been out in the sun and stuff like that. We can take the opacity up a little bit. You can see that modifies the body as well. So let's give him something like that. Maybe not too tan, maybe something around there. And then face freckles, of course. With the tan comes freckles on most people, and we can just increase the amount of freckles there. Give him a bit more of a freckled appearance. And then head surface normals. Now this is the area where we're going to be applying most of the appearance of age. So if we go down here, we can see lips. Let's just set lips to dry. You can see the change in the lips. Those appear more dry and chapped right there. We can go down to forehead. Let's pay attention to the forehead. If I increase or decrease the age, we get that little kind of ridge in between his eyebrows right there. So we can increase the roughness and the strength of that right there. And that looks more like he's been out in the sun. And the same thing goes for the cheeks. Because he's so dark, you can't really see it as much, but if we increase the roughness and the strength, you can see there, you can see it quite significantly right there. And again, the nose, roughness, age. You can notice a slight difference on the nose. The strength is really when it comes into play. You can see right around the nasal area right there, it's changing. And then you can do the same thing for the chin. So you can increase the age of the chin and the strength of that. Just notice it, and the roughness. And all those other values. And then there's an other slider as well, right there. You can see that one's quite noticeable. That's the other parts of the face. We can increase the roughness and the strength of that as well. So there you go. Now he looks like he's, been out in the sun a little bit. He's had a long life of outdoor labor. And now there's all sorts of various other sliders that you can explore, but we're going to have separate tutorials about that, or you can go explore those on your own time. Eyebrows and mustaches and beards and everything like that. Let's focus instead on our character's clothing right now. We're going to skip the hair. We're not going to give this guy hair since he already has this cool, rough-looking shaved head. But you can apply the hair if you want. If you wanted to, give this guy, Mason's hairstyle, we can simply just double-click on that, and you can see, it looks okay. And you can change all the hair values, or you can select the hair from the right-hand side, modify panel, and just delete it. Press delete, and take that off. All right, so let's give our buff guy, let's give our jack guy some clothing. So we'll go to our clothing section over here, and in clothing we can just choose like shirts, and let's just give him, your basic shirt right here, shirt C. And there's all sorts of other shirts that you can use. You can apply to your character. We're just going to be using this one for now. And going over then to pants, you can click up here as well. Let's give him a nice pair of cowboy jeans, these nice worn jeans right there. So we have these jeans, and maybe his skin tone's a little bit too dark, I think. From looking far away, I think his skin tone looks a tiny bit too dark. Let's go back to his skin body right here, body base, and take that tone a little bit down. There we go. I think something like that. A lighter skinned guy with a really bad tan might be what we're going for here. Alright, so we have those clothing items there. We can also add some boots to our character as well. Go down here to boots. I like to use the boots A right here. And again, we have these essential clothing folders, which you can purchase to get all sorts of different other clothing items. For example, and for the shoes, we have flip-flops, high heels, slip-ons, all sorts of stuff. For the pants, we have jogging pants and tight skinny pants for hipster style, or shorts and all that other fun stuff. But that's for a separate tutorial. We can also give them like a full dress if we want. Let's go ahead now and focus on the character's clothing and how we can modify this clothing that we put on the character. So if I take, for example, my character's shirt, let's go ahead and select the shirt from the Modify panel to the right. And I want to activate the Appearance Editor here. Now when I activate that, we'll have different values than we had for the skin. And we're going to age and roughen up this character's shirt as well. So you can see all sorts of different sections over here. Again, don't get intimidated. We'll have separate tutorials on this as well. In this tutorial, we're going to be dealing with the procedural aging, procedural dirt, and procedural holes. So we're going to give him a bit more of a rough looking shirt. Now the way you can do that is simply by going to procedural aging right here, and we can increase the amount of procedural aging by increasing the amount slider. And you can see the values right there. Let's take it down to something like that. And you can increase the amount of creases, or decrease the crease value right there. And we can increase or decrease the brightness value as well. I think that one's fine. So that's basically how you can modify the amount of aging appearance on your clothing. We're going to give this guy a pretty ragged looking shirt. So let's close down procedural aging, go to procedural dirt. And we can add, I like to add a lot of dirt on the characters, the amount right here for example, and then you can change the pattern to different various patterns. This 9 pattern might be kind of cool. We can increase the amount of dirt there. So now his shirt's starting to look a lot more rugged. And that's really cool. That's the power of substance materials, how you can create very unique types of effects on your clothing just by using simple sliders. So then we have, for example, the hue, the lightness, the contrast, saturation, all those values as well. I think we'll just keep it at the values we have right now. Maybe change down the lightness a slight bit. Maybe something like that might be cool. And then take down the procedural dirt. And let's go to procedural holes as well. So in procedural holes, we can select Enable. And what that's going to do is that's going to create some holes on my character's shirt. Although we can't see them right now, they may be around the back somewhere. Let's go ahead and change the pattern. You can see if we change the pattern, now we get a hole right there. And if we, scroll around, we can't really see many other holes. Maybe this one right here. And I'll take a look at this. This hole you can kind of see, we can see through his body right there. And I'll show you how to fix that in just a moment. But let's go ahead and maybe give him a couple more holes by increasing the ratio right here. Well, that's basically just ratio increases the size of the holes. Now you can have like smaller, a larger amount of smaller holes if you decrease the ratio, or a larger amount of, or a smaller amount of larger holes. So a larger amount of smaller holes or a smaller amount of larger holes. That's what the ratio does for you there. Let's go ahead and I think I want some, try to get some tearing on the top here, around the character's body on the top. There we go. Okay, so this illustrates a problem right here. We have all these holes in our character's shirt, but we can actually see through the character. You may come across this. You can see right here, I can see through to the other end of the character. There's even a hole over here. I can see all the way through the character if I go over here. There we go. But let's go ahead and fix that. Now the easiest way to fix it, make sure you have your shirt selected. Go to your conform values in the top here, and just deselect Hide Inner Mesh. And that's going to actually show our character's body underneath the shirt. So now we've deselected the inner mesh. And now we can see our character's body through all these holes right here. And again, you can spread those holes out if you want them to be larger or something like that. I like to increase the fade strength. That creates a nice fading effect around the holes, so they're like worn out or something like that. And then we can also go over here to Effect. Now Effect is like where you can add the final touches, like the dust. You can add some dust onto the top of your shirt like that. I like that effect, especially for a cowboy type shirt. And then one of my favorites is the edges wearing. So we can increase the amount of wearing along the edges. You can see the effect right there. along all the edges of the shirt, and I like to increase the brightness to make it seem like more like worn out like that. So there we go. We get that nice, kind of edgy, worn out shirt right there. And then for the jeans, we can do the same thing for the jeans. Now, if you do not have a powerful computer, you can press Control P. Here's just a little tip here, and that'll open up your preferences here. And in your preferences, you can have this option selected to load one substance at a time. Now, if you have this load one substance at a time, that means you'll only have one appearance editor open at a time. So you can actually go to the jeans, the boots, and you have to reactivate the appearance editor. And that's a way just to save memory if you have a lower speed computer. And you can also, if you have a higher speed computer, just maximize video memory usage. If you have a good video card, you can have that selected as well. So what I'm going to do is just close this down right now, select my jeans, and activate the appearance editor for the jeans. And for the jeans, there's tons and tons of values like I mentioned before, but the ones we want to focus on are discoloration. So you can see we have a discoloration mask. We can change the opacity of this. You can see the effect on the crotch area of the jeans right there. We increase or decrease the opacity right there. We get some discoloration on that area. We also have a discoloration 2 on this one, I believe. There we go. This one should have more of an effect. And that's the dust that you see on the pants right there. And the discoloration 3 would be this area. So you can modify all those, change the lightness as well. If you want to have more dust or darker appearance, like an oil stain or something like that, we can do that as well. So that's pretty much all the modifications we're going to do in the character creator for this tutorial. And I want to show you how you can export this to iClone. So over here we have the option to export selected object, which means you can export these jeans separately. You can also export your avatar, export iAvatar, and that'll just export to wherever you want. Or you can go over here and send character to iClone. Now let's go into iClone here. We have this character that looks pretty similar. Let's just go to New Project. So we have no character on our screen right now. And let's go over here and send our character directly to iClone. And once this guy's in iClone, we'll take a look at the different tools that we can use. So let's go into iClone here, and there's our character loaded up. Snazzy looking guy. So if we go onto the character's face, you can see the nice facial detail that we have there. We can modify, we can change, we can use the facial animation tools, for example, the facial puppet, and choose something like, this is the Christian template that is new for character creator. We can choose like a sad one like this. And you can see the happy one right here. So it looks like an old happy man right there. And, this one's a worried one. I think there's an angry one here as well. So you can, use all the facial animation tools as well, and then the body animation tools. So we can apply that same body animation that we had earlier. Go to King Tut, I think it was King Tut 01 or something. There you go. So again, some of your characters may be too muscular, so there may be some, breakage with some of the motions. Your, hands might be breaking through the mesh in certain parts, but there you go. That's pretty much it. That's the process. You can see going through the chest there. That's the process of, importing or creating your character in Character Creator. Doing modifications to age and modify his skin and clothing, and then taking him into iClone, and you can save him as a separate avatar. If you go over here to Actor and go to your Custom tab, and then just choose Avatar Folder and press plus, and that'll save your character for later use. Or you can just save him in Character Creator, which is probably a lot faster. Cool guy. There we go. Alright, so that's about it for the introductory character creator tutorial. Thank you everyone for watching, and make sure you take a look at all of our other tutorials that go much more into depth on the materials, the character skin, and all that fun stuff.